Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, we're doing a couple of things, just a run-of-the-mill quality control thing, dialing in some roasts, probably answer some questions for you guys, do a bit of cupping, so a regular kind of lab day. First, let's get started. Let's clean a bit. Swirl. See that? Mr. Pablo, one of our newest coffees that we've launched. It's a fermented natural processed coffee from Colombia. Really interesting coffee. Interesting in the fact that it roasts kind of funky, kind of weird. It moves really fast. It's odd. I want to thank you guys for all your questions. They give me a chance to not only make content, but to really think about my answers. And sometimes I don't give complete whole answers because there just isn't enough time in the video. There isn't enough, I don't know, self-awareness to really think of everything in that moment. And so I want you guys to know that when I'm answering your questions, it's off the cuff. And I may miss some stuff that I, would have liked to include it or, so it's not my 100% complete full opinion. Because when I think back and I edit my videos, I'm like, I should have talked about this as well, like consistency and like the video that I made about talking about Loring roasters. I was like, I really don't know shit about Loring roasters, but I'm sure there's this like this movement towards just being more consistent. Like 2 years ago when I was just learning, I was just really, really brand new. And I saw a Loring roaster, I was like, like, why have all of these bells and whistles and things? Doesn't that take away from the art, It's like an AI for, like, say, a photo that you took in a camera. It's a really high-tech camera, but maybe it corrects all of the defects, right, of the image. And it's like shooting on auto, where there's that is correcting all of the defects, quote unquote correcting. But you as an artist are like, no, but I want to like blow out the background, or I want to like keep the shadows, or whatever the heck. And so the fact that there's machines out there that I think, which it's moving towards that way, because it kind of happens in every industry. It's like moving away from manually adjusting something, and as an artist you're like, cool, I can adjust anything I want to make it my own. But if we move towards a machine and have technology that just corrects all of that stuff, everything will kind of like look the same, and there's no room for like individuality. And so in the beginning, I knew just from my photography background that I didn't really want to go automated because it would take away from the artistry. Now, automation is not a bad thing per se, because it means maybe dialed in, consistent as hell, right? And people love that too. There's nothing wrong with that. And you do want to be consistent even as an artist. You want to be consistent. So, I don't know. I think when I was thinking about it, I was editing this video and thinking back of what I said and thinking about how I felt, even in the very beginning, looking at roasters. I didn't give a full and complete answer, what I feel about that. And I still think it's going to take a little bit more discussion, I think, at least here on this channel, because I did want to talk about that like pretty early on, which is like, there's all these machines that are like making roasting easy. I was like, well, a lot of things are hard in life for a reason, to be great. But if we make everything easy, like, where is the struggle? Where is the, like, finding and innovating something new, problem solving? There's beauty in struggling, and there's beauty in suffering too. One of my mentors, when I was in a different industry, told me, passion is something, it's not just like, oh, passion, I really, really love it. It actually means to suffer. What do you want to suffer for, right? So think about all the things that you really, really love. What do you it's actually something that you would really want to like you're willing to suffer for that thing or that person or whatever, right? And I think there's a beauty in that. And if we take that away, I don't know, it's just making things a little too basic, a little too generic, you know? All right, let's grind some of these. Let's get these started. From Erhard. When comparing roasts on different machines, a color meter could be helpful. Same coffee, same color, and equal to same end temperature. I don't know about same end temperature. I think for end temperature, I think it's okay to have like a range of like, call it like a range of forgiveness or a goal range, you know, like for a light roast, it's typically for me between the end temperature is between like 385 to 390, something like that. I don't know. I'm more looking at color and then all the other stuff as well. It's kind of just like one factor. Like I say in a lot of the past videos, is like still using all of your senses, using all of the things that can help you as a tool, taking with a grain of salt particular thermometers and probes, you know, its placement, its sensitivity, the software that you're using, a lot of things, but I think maybe the most reliable maybe in the end, because without all the technology and the probes and all that stuff, is your senses. What does a coffee look like when it's done, when you deem it done? And then what does it taste like in the end? So what does it look like? Because you can't taste it while it's roasting, obviously. So there's that first really like, without all the technology, what does it look like, smell like, sound like, all this stuff. You can look at the, you know, what the coffee actually looks like, the color of it, the body characteristics of the coffee. And then as it's done and you're looking at it, okay, you're assessing it. And then coming in to grind it, looking at that, going, okay, is this light, medium, dark? Does it look good? Does it look consistent? And then what does it taste like? So in the end, after all the fancy technology and bells and whistles that we have developed around coffee roasting, I think in the end it really helps a roaster to develop all of those like experience and skills and sensory roasting, the senses, developing sensory roasting skills versus, I think that's what Mike called it, versus like numbers and tech and data roasting skills. Because really it's kind of like statistics. You could stimulate the right numbers that you want, or even the right graph that you want, and call that good. But the proof is in the pudding, I'd say. These are, I think, the most dialed in I have produced on the production roaster for this Mr. Pablo and this Rasuna. Now I've named these. These are not varietals. These are my own names for these coffees. So Rasuna meaning that's the varietal of this origin of coffee, which is Indonesia, from Sumatra. Really exciting coffee. Replaced Vietnam in that. It's a natural processed coffee, so it's a really sweet cup. You know, the flavors of chocolate are definitely there, the flavors of toffee and caramel and stuff like that. But because of this varietal, which is Rasuna, it's a hybrid of the typical varietals that they do use in Indonesia. It's more of a forward-thinking family who is producing this coffee that I sourced from Hasea. They're creating something just a little bit more exciting, more akin to the palate of the specialty coffee roaster that likes acidity. It also tastes really good at light, medium, and dark, which I did try. Now, I don't roast this to really, really dark and roasty. I don't do that. I don't do Starbucks Sumatra. I don't do that here. what I do is a medium dark, or a dark medium. That's better. A dark medium. So on the site you can choose light, which that's what we're going to cup today and just test. Medium, which is solid, crowd pleaser. And then we can go a dark medium for, I don't know, parents and such. Okay. Or, you know, if you just like that, you know, not going to yuck your yum. And Mr. Pablo right here. Tricky little coffee. I'm going to put for you guys so you can see how tricky this guy is. Not tricky, just like it's interesting. In order for me to get this to be truly light. Now, mind you, this weight loss on this coffee at this DTR and this development, and I'll link it up in the description so you can see. Really bad at the roaster because the numbers are telling me like, oh, this is like painfully light. But we're going to test that right now and really see. I don't think it is, because the weight loss is more like what I'm used to is seeing as like a medium even. And it really does depend on what you define as a roaster, light, medium, and dark. So for me, 13.5% weight loss, typically to me in the past, I'm willing to change this and be flexible with this because we have to cup it and see, would be medium. Okay. So this intended light roast, which I still believe is, I'm looking at the color, I'm looking at the grind. I was making that decision at the roaster, even though my weight loss says what I would typically classify as medium. I don't, that's fine. It's just like, oh, that's interesting. Let's cup it. Let's make sure. Let's see if it tastes like that light that I want. A lot of the production roasts that I'm producing for Mr. Pablo have been, I think, just a little too roasty, just a little bit more on the medium side. And I was like, I need to get it to light, like a true light for me. Roasted yesterday, so it's had time to off gas, I hope. Enough. A little earlier, not a full 24 hours. But, and it does make a difference if you're wondering. Should I really wait? Yeah, I mean, once you start cupping a lot, you're gonna taste a difference. I won't say it's bad or good, just because like, I'll just say that if you don't wait for it to off gas, you're not gonna get the full picture. That's all. And you want the full picture if you're trying to make decisions. If you're trying to say, is this good? Is this quality good? Like, is this up to my standard? But if you're always cupping it immediately after roasting and you're not letting it off gas, well, you're not giving yourself a fair chance of actually assessing that coffee. All right, the color looks great. Looks like a true light roast, both of them. So yeah, these coffees moved pretty standardly through the, I guess, the markers of a good roast. When the finishing comes, I feel like it starts to move really quickly. Mr. Pablo moves really quickly after first crack. And you're just like, oh shoot, I got to make a decision within this minute. Within the first minute, I'm dropping the coffee. And I've never had a coffee that acted like that before. Like I really had a lot of forgiveness for it to still be tasting light. So this one is cool in that way because it's keeping me on my toes as a roaster, and I'm learning some new things while offering such an exciting new wine-like coffee on the menu, which is like something I always want to do because I personally love that and I think everybody should try it. But as a roaster, it's cool. It's like, ooh, it does different things. It also gives off a lot of steam. Now, I was wondering, I haven't really dove into this yet, and I think I need to just clean up my roaster. We talked about safety and maintenance and, you know, doing your pre-checklist. So that's something I'm going to do because it gave off a lot of steam. And I'm not sure why. Maybe did it rain the other day? I don't know. Something to think about. I just felt this wet heat emanating from these roasts. So that was interesting. I hope it's not because there's like water somewhere in the pipes or something like that. So I'm going to check it out. It's something to investigate. I think we'll answer another question while we wait for these to cool down. Lumu, just curious if we can get a video of maybe a walkthrough of your setup. Very interested to see how you're doing this in your home. Appreciate all the videos. I don't know. I'm reluctant to do that just because people, if they haven't seen my progress or they don't know my whole story, or if they don't know exactly like the rules and regulations of California or what I have set up, and I don't want to take time to explain everybody to everybody exactly what I'm doing. It just invites a lot of like unwanted questioning and questions that I really don't want to answer, because like it really just depends where you're at, you know. If you dig deep enough, I'm sure maybe you'll find something. But yeah, I vent out the side of my own home. We own this home. Smoke terminates in a place where nobody can see it. I don't smoke. I mean, I don't smoke. I don't roast that much. We're very small roastery here. I don't move that much coffee, I don't think. I mean, we move enough to where like I want to get out of here. Like I want to be in a facility, and that is the ultimate goal, is like to get all this out of my house into a roasting facility. I want my house back. And to make it like a real career, you know, where I actually go to work again. Yeah, but I'm not going to be sharing any of that stuff. If you're curious to find out how you want to do it, I'm sorry, this answer sucks, but you're going to have to see what will work for you. There's a lot of other stuff out there. I share more stuff like this. Like we talk about roasting, things like that. Okay, let's give this a whirl. Ooh. Boss. Yep. Okay. Excellent. Both right there, really close to what my sample roasts were producing. I was really having a hard time like roasting these as light as my samples were, because my production roaster, I mean, this coffee just moves really quickly after first crack, Mr. Pablo. This one can too. There's Rasuna. I think I have a little bit more give, definitely in the Rasuna. But they're both natural process coffees. So the charge temp on the Mr. Pablo is 360. Charge temp over here is 350. Wine-like berries, red berries, pink, like a chocolate toffee thing. Yeah, really good. I think they could benefit from a little bit more rest, actually. All right. Great. I feel good about those. Mr. Pablo's on the site. Check that out. Rasuna's on the site. Check that out. You can choose. That's the only coffee really that you can really like let me know what you prefer. Light, medium, or dark medium. Medium dark, whatever. But yeah, really good. The acidity is coming through a lot more in the Rasuna at 9 minutes. Super berries, wakes you up. Love it. I love it. Try it. And if you get your hands on one as a roaster, I think you'll have, you know, it'll be interesting. Anyway, I'll link up the two profiles for these coffees that, you know, exactly match this, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. In order for me to, what I call light, that's what I would classify as light. And I think too, what's also really, really interesting is that these coffees are fairly fresh in that they were harvested last year. So me having a lot of experience roasting, say, older coffees, because when I first came into coffee, I was really just like buying the cheapest thing because I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna try it. I've never bought this much green before. So now that I'm a little bit more educated in learning what to buy and how to buy and why I want to spend this much or not, yeah, it's just been like a really cool learning experience. And then like having that knowledge now, and then seeing how it acts in the roaster, and then cupping it and all the things, you know, it's like doing everything over again, but then having more of the story, you know, watching the movie over, but having more of the backstory, which is interesting. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.